Hi, and welcome to Knit All the Things. My name is Laurel. I'm also known as West Maven on Instagram, Ravelry, and here. If you're new, this is a space where I talk about all the things I'm knitting, all the things I want to knit, all things yarn, just all the things. And if you're returning, welcome back, Knitting Bestie. I can't wait to catch up with you. In this week's episode, we have so much. I have a finished cardigan, I have a sock failure, I have a cast on failure, and this is more of the yarn's fault. I have a new cast on that we haven't talked about yet, tons of swatches, and we are going to talk about the spring issue of Laine magazine. I realized that somehow I missed this one. It didn't come across my desk or something, but we are going to go over it because it has some really timeless knits inside of its pages and things I think you can cast on now, either wear them into autumn or have them in your queue for next spring. I also want to talk a little bit about Seattle Flock and Fiber Festival. So grab your knitting or your project, get cozy, and let's go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Polka Dot Summer Cardi. This is a pattern by Midori Hirose. I have made two so far. The one behind me is in navy, and this one is in the colorway Khaki by Wandering Flock. This is the cotton lino, and I have now made 3 items in this, and I'm planning on a 4th. And I love this yarn so much. So if you can get your hands on it, I know that there has been an update, or there will be very soon. So definitely check the Wandering Flock's website for the yarn. And really, it is so nice to knit with, even though it is very heavily plant-based. It's not entirely plant-based. It does have, let's see, it has alpaca, it has cotton, it has linen, and it has silk. So it has just a little bit of everything. It makes it so nice. It is a great transitional piece. I don't think it would be like the warmest to wear in the dead of winter, but it is great for, you know, 3/4 of the year. I've grabbed it a few times since it's been blocked and thrown it on like early mornings in the summer so far. So it really is a great piece for a majority of the year. And it has like the warm bits on where you need them. So having stockinette in the arms and the kind of holier fabric over your body is just such a great piece. So let's talk a little bit about some of the modifications that I did, the sweater construction itself, and a little bit more about the yarn. So the sweater construction itself is you start in the back, you knit a ways, and then you pick up from the shoulders and knit down, and then you join the body and knit in pattern down, and then finish off with a 1x1 ribbed hem. You then pick up and knit the sleeves and knit in the round, and then you pick up the neckband. It does not have buttons. However, if you wanted to have buttons, you certainly could add those quite easily. And I just really like the way it turned out. I like that it is an open cardigan. I don't always like button my cardigans all the way up, so not having buttons is not a big deal, but again, you could add them quite easily. I did lengthen the sleeves on both of the ones that I made because I wanted a long sleeve cardigan. The pattern has you do about a 3/4 length sleeve, and it's just not my style. So that's why we knit. We can make and customize our knits to fit our body and our tastes. And that is very simple to do. You just basically keep going, and then you follow the pattern's suggestion or instructions for decreases and the cuff. I also think my cuff is probably a little longer than the pattern calls for, I think. And I did this time make this bit slightly wider than the pattern calls for. The other one I made was a little bit thinner, and it's probably just by a couple of rows. But yeah, I really like how this turned out. I'm very happy with the overall pattern itself. It is a very long pattern, meaning like 85 pages. And that is only because Midori is so concise in her pattern writing that she is writing out like each size's instructions for various pieces. They are all hyperlinked in the pattern, so if you are digitally looking at the pattern, you can just click on like the next instruction and it'll bring it to you, so that's quite nice. I have kind of given a lot of advice on knitting this just because I have knit it twice in kind of rapid succession, if you will. So if you are curious and you're in the middle of knitting this, then check some of my previous videos and I can kind of cluster those together in the description for you just to make your life a little bit easier. I will state now, since I have your attention on it, if you are interested, I do have a newsletter, and the newsletter just contains all the links of things that I've talked about in podcasts, and I send those out after I've published a podcast so that you just have all the links of things that we've talked about. Talked previously on the blue cardigan, I started a new ball when I did the button band, not the button band, the neckband, because I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough and I didn't want to run out midway. But for this sweater, I knit one sleeve, then I did the button band, and then I knit the second sleeve so that if I ran out, it would have been on the sleeve. And I'm happy to report back that while I lengthened the sleeves, I think I did a couple extra rows on the neckband. This is how much I have left. So I have this. I had 4 whole skeins. This is the 4th skein. I did not tap into it at all. So you can basically lengthen the sleeves if you're knitting a size medium and you're making gauge with just the 3 skeins of yarn. So I hope that helps if that's your plan. Since we are talking about the yarn, I have other colors. So I've already I knit a beautiful hashibami, a pattern by Ririko in this beautiful burnt sienna, and then the navy also. So right now we have these 3, and I have a 4th sweater quantity of the chocolate brown, which it's a warmer brown. It definitely has a little bit of the orange tone to it, if you will. But I thought I would like to make a 4th something, and then hopefully I will have a skeinish of leftovers that I can then make something stripy, because I do think these 4 together would be really pretty. I'm not sure exactly how I would, lay them all together, but as you can imagine, there's options in how you could, put stripes or something. So I also have thought that maybe with the brown one, I would make a striped something. So have a main color be the brown, and then there's one more color that is similar to this that I could stripe in, and I thought maybe that would be pretty, and then I would have 5 colors to kind of play with for a stripe something. So with this, I am still on the fence. I really think I am down to considering the Fiola by Isabel Kramer. It has just a very subtle little lace detail down the sleeves and right at the front. And it's just a very simple silhouette. The other option, and I don't know yarn-wise, I feel like there's a reason I haven't done it yet, is I have the pattern, the Sailor pattern by Anne Wenzel that I've had for a really long time. And while it does call for a little bit heavier weight yarn, I still think I could make it work with this yarn. And I thought it would be pretty with the beige stripe. So that is the 2 patterns I'm kind of thinking of. And I really do want to knit something with the brown so I can knit something striped. And just continue this love affair with the Wandering Flock Cotton Lino yarn. So that is kind of what I am thinking with that. And like I said, I'm so happy with how this sweater turned out. And it has some really pretty features. I don't know if you can tell, but it has this beautiful like line where you pick up the shoulder, which continues to the back of the neck. And you basically are creating that effect by knitting, by picking up purlwise. So rather than putting your needle through the fabric and then, you know, catching your yarn and pulling it through and off the needle, you are coming from the back side of your fabric. And it's very simple to do if you haven't done it. I remember the first time I did it, I couldn't picture it in my mind, and she does have a tutorial on the pickup, so she really does hold your hand throughout the whole pattern and makes it incredibly easy for you to, you know, come away with a beautiful knit cardigan. Like I said, we have a lot. I knit a lot this last couple of weeks. I have sewn some things. I had 2 failed projects, so maybe let's talk about some of our failures right up front. Okay, so last podcast, I had mentioned, look, I finished this sock and I'm so happy. Like, what should I do? And we talked about Summerly's sock books and all these different things. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna easily just cut in a heel, which I did great, by the way. That wasn't the problem. So I cut in this heel and I was so proud with how it was turning out. And I was like looking at the sock going, this is not looking like the right size. And somehow, not sure how, I basically placed it in the wrong spot. I think the heel should have actually gone here, and I placed it in the wrong spot. So prior to me discovering this, I asked my husband to try it on, and I was watching him and I was like, oh yeah, the foot is like entirely too long. And it made me very angry at this project. Like, I want to throw this sock away, which is quite the feeling, but I will set it aside for now. The annoying part is I now have to undo what I did and then now repair the sock in the spot that I put the heel in the wrong place and then replace it. And that makes me too mad right now to deal with. I'm sure there will be a day that I feel less angry about this whole situation. So I am tempted to toss this and just knit him some DK sock and move on with my life because I am mad at this. But eventually I will probably get back to fixing it and doing the right thing. I did use a Landonord sock wool, and I do not know the color, but I will hold it for a second so you can kind of see the colored stripes because it is on the outside of the packaging. So you should be able to like find this one. And then I did end up using Lang wool. I was also using the reinforced yarn that comes with that. And I was feeling it's very tight and snug, and I think a good way, so that hopefully it will wear better than I've experienced before. So hopefully one of these days I will stop being so heartbroken over this sock and we will do something different. But that was my big, huge sock fail. Don't, measure twice, cut once, and I did not do that. I don't even know why I put it there, because had I actually looked and read carefully, I probably would not have done that. I don't know if it's because I'd already knit the heel, and I think the instructions in the book were telling you like where to mark where you would put it according to how long or large a foot is. And I never did that when I was knitting it, first of all. And then secondly, with the foot or toe there, I think I subtracted it in the wrong spot or something. Like, there is obviously something wrong with my math. I picked the wrong spot, or I measured it and then just chose a different spot. Like, I have no idea what happened there, but it is a disaster and it is a big fail on my part. And I will now have to mend where I created the heel and then recut my knitting once again. The whole thing just makes me mad. Like, it makes me so angry and frustrated. So setting it aside, we will deal with that later. So from that failure, let's go to the next failure, since I'm sharing all of my dirty laundry with you guys right now. I'll get to that in a minute. The next failure is I'm going to blame on the yarn this time. So there are a lot of popular sleeveless tops right now, and my friend Lena knit the Bea top by Petite Knit, and her and I were talking back and forth, and that top is knit bottom up, and then it's just a regular kind of tank top, crew neck or boat neck, and it's quite plain. Like there's nothing overly complicated with it. It's pretty straightforward. It's a larger gauge, and she sent me a picture of her trying it on, and it looks so cute on her, and so I was like, oh, let me see what other, patterns are out there, or maybe just do the same thing. And so I looked and I came across the Sabai top, which is very similar construction. It is knit top down, and then there is a variation where you can have a like 1x1 rib on the top of the neck. It's still a boat neck, and it just gives it a little something extra. So that's really the only difference. And so I thought, well, maybe I will cast it on. She cast hers on, and I just got jealous and decided I'm gonna cast mine on. And I looked through my stash, and I had this yarn from Isair. It is the Hur Organic, and it is just an organic linen. And this is the colorway Ink. I don't actually know the colorway on this one. If it's not ink, I will look it up, but it is the blue. And it's a really pretty yarn. This yarn is like a fingering / sport weight. And so I held it together. I did measure my gauge, like I just cast on. Then I went back and steam blocked it, and you can kind of see the line that I did that right here. So I steam blocked it and measured gauge. Gauge is fine, but we're running into a problem. Here's my problem. I'm gonna hold it up against this white bag. You can kind of see through it. And it's not that, like, obviously knit fabric you can see through. You can't see my arm through this. But with this gauge and holding the linen double, it's just so holy that on my skin, you're gonna be able to, like, it's gonna be hard to show, but you'll be able to see. I know you're going to be able to see right through. Or if I don't like match my undergarment well enough, it's going to just show right through. Don't love that. The other thing I'm not loving about this top is I feel like it's still going to be a bit more snug than I was going for, and not loving that. So I do think this pattern would actually be nice a few different ways. And I could salvage this a couple of different ways if I really, really, really wanted it. And I don't think right now I want to do this. But one way I would salvage it is I would hold only one strand of this Isair organic linen, and I would hold one of a different fiber. Options would be a like alpaca 1 by Isair. So it's a very thin, fine alpaca. It's gonna add just that slightest bit of floof to it, where it would take away, I think, some of these big gaping holes, because the holes are actually just like in that knit stitch, right? So I think it would take some of that away. I could use like a cotton blend yarn. Like, I think it's a yarn problem. I do like the linen drape, and I think this would be nice, but held double, I'm just not a big fan. So I think holding it single, but single with something, would really be the key to making or saving this knit. So that is kind of where I'm at with this. I wish I wasn't stalled. I do think I'm going to just rip it out and set it aside. I have been looking for a pattern for this yarn. I think I even originally bought it for an Anne Vincel pattern called, starts with an N. First, I want to say Nest. I know that's not correct. Can't think of the name of it right now, but it's a stripy tee, and she held it with the Isair alpaca 1, and that's probably the call. Like, I just think you need something in addition to the linen. And I have knit a couple of linen tops, and I know that it's not advised to hold it by itself a lot of times, because your pattern can skew a little bit, and that is true. Like, while mine aren't horribly askew, it is not quite right. And I think just having something else with the linen would make it so much nicer. So for now, We're not doing anything with this. I'm a little bummed because I cast on, like, I just got to the point where I was going to do increases to start, like, arm increases, and I'm just not. Like, I feel like sometimes I ignore the gut telling me this isn't working out. Like, this isn't gonna get better. This isn't a trust the process. Like, you can tell that the yarn is not what you were envisioning for this project. If I did not mention, now I feel bad. I don't know if I mentioned. This is the Sabai top by Susanne Müller. I believe she's also known as Paula Strict. Could be wrong about that. But this is the finish of it. So you don't have the finish on, there's kind of two patterns in one. There's the non-finished top, and then there is the one that has the ribbing. And the pattern itself is fine. Like, it's easy to follow. I don't really have any problems with that. Again, I think it really is the yarn I chose. And I just don't know that I can, like, salvage this in time for it to be not winter. So I am going to frog this. I am going to set the yarn aside. Maybe next year is its year to be knit. I've tried a couple of times to knit stuff with this particular yarn and it's not working out. So I don't know. Maybe there's a better project for it. Maybe it's just not for me. I don't know. Because I'm actually enjoying knitting with blue. So it's not the color. It's just the texture of the yarn. And I did notice a lot of people who are knitting this particular pattern are using Sandnes Garn Lena for good reason. That yarn itself is not 100% linen. It is a linen, cotton, and maybe even something else blend. So you are getting, you know, the qualities of the linen that it's going to be drapey and a great summer wearing knit, but you still have the cotton to kind of like not have so many gaps. So there is a way to knit it to have it look, I'm sure, amazing, but I'm not doing it that way. So if I had wanted to, this would be a great yarn, the Wandering Flock Cotton Lino. My friend Lena used Knitting for Olive Pure Silk held double, and hers turned out really pretty for her other one. So I really just think there's options. So now we're done failing. We're done with the failures for this episode. We're going to talk about some of the good things. So Claudia Quintanilla came out with a pattern called the Verona sweater. This is a lace and stockinette bottom up sweater that I thought was really pretty, and I decided to swatch for it. So we have a couple of things. I knit a Zop sweater in a wool, and this is like a cashmere lace. And originally, when I saw the pattern, I thought, oh, well, of course, let's try to knit it in black with something we have in our stash. And so I did swatch for it in the black. Here's kind of the lace pattern and some of the stockinette. I even made a mistake here because this yarn is so hard to see being boucle, like a micro boucle, that I did like a row of purling instead of knitting. And it's really hard to see. Like, it's hard to see me looking at it now. It's hard to see at night. Like, it's not the best for this project. It is not a good call. The other thing that was happening with it was that it was catching on itself. Like, the little boucle nubs were catching together, and it was just not pleasant to be knitting it with this. So I scrapped that idea. But I did have a plenty of this to do it, and I would have liked to use it in that way. And if I didn't show you yet, here's the micro boucle, and it is just yarn that I bought from Conan Fiber, which is located in Portland, Oregon. They sell cones of yarn, and this particular one is called Puff. It currently is, I think, available in at least two colors still. So if you are interested in this micro boucle, holding it with something is amazing, and you should absolutely do that. But for this pattern, it was a big fat no. So, oh my gosh, I said we weren't going to do failures. We're still doing failures. It wasn't a fail. We learned something. This was a learning swatch. Then I thought, oh my gosh, I have the best idea ever. And I have had this. It is a Cashmere Treats mohair, silk mohair blend, and I've had it forever. It's kind of an odd color in a way, in that the like silk core really dyed, but like the mohair itself is a bit lighter color. I've never really used it, but I've swatched with it a few different times, and I thought, let's bust this guy out and swatch with it. And then I love this color so much. This is the colorway Cocoa from my.maane, and it's a silk mohair blend. And I just really, it is so fantastic. It is like that obnoxiously bright. So these two. And I thought, how fun would it be to, like, for funsies, do a fading swatch. So like fade through different colors, but like in stripes. So that is what I did. And the pattern itself calls for silk mohair, or like a fluffy yarn that you hold double for the stockinette pieces, and then you hold single for the lace. So I thought, great, what I will do is I will hold double for the first color, in the first color. Then I will do lace in the first color with one strand. And then I will hold the new color and the old color together for the middle stripe. Then I will go to the new color, lace, single strand, and then I will double it up. So that's how I got this effect. I think it turned out so cool. Again, I probably would have never put these exact colors together, but I think it turned out really nice. And I decided not to go this way just because I didn't want the mental gymnastics of figuring out colors this time. And I realized while I was swatching this that I actually do have enough yarn in my stash that I could use. So I decided not to go this route for the sweater, but I think one of you guys should do this. Someone, please do a color changing Verona. I think it would be so cool. You definitely could do this so many different ways. You could monochromatic it. You could do a fade where you start dark and then start to like fade into light as you go through your colors. There's so many ways you could play with this, and I think it would be really cool. There's also one person I think that tested it for her that rather than doing it this way, they did one color for the stockinette, another color for the lace, and then they just striped it, and I thought that was really interesting. So there's a lot of ways you can really play with this pattern, but yeah, I really wanted to see it in this, and I do like it, but I'm not gonna, unfortunately, I'm not gonna knit it this way, but someone should. So grab your little mohair scrappies and look at it from maybe a different lens, but didn't do that. So what I did find is that I actually had some Ito Sensei yarn. This is in the colorway Billard, and Claudia's team or store sent this to me for a different sweater that I knit, but I ended up using my own yarn. But this was for her Aurelia sweater, and I really, really enjoyed knitting that. But I did have a bunch of this blue because of that, so I decided I would knit this new sweater in this beautiful Ito. And I will say I have never knit an Ito before. I did not realize how special this yarn is until I started knitting with it, and it really is like quite magical. Like if you can knit with Ito at least once, I would suggest doing it because it's an incredibly soft mohair. It is 60% mohair, 40% silk, and it's a 20-gram ball, and it has 262 yards or 240 meters. So it's very, very lightweight, and it's just quite fantastic. So I cast on, because you start with the sleeves for this pattern in this beautiful dusty blue. I'm gonna try not to yank it off my needles. I actually started doing magic loop for this one and then thought better of it because I was feeling like during the lace bits, it was kind of doing something, like I was getting bigger holes and I didn't want that. So the pattern itself is memorizable. Right now I am just on the sleeve, and so, you know, we haven't gotten far, but it's very memorizable. I think it's also a bit forgiving because for some reason I have like accidentally picked up an extra stitch. Like I've had weirdness, but I've just hit it and kept going. And it's really nice. So this is what we've got so far. I really think finished, it's gonna be gorgeous. And for my size, I just need, I think I needed 6 of these 20-gram balls, but I actually have 7. And I do think I'm gonna lengthen the sleeve slightly because it does look more bracelet length. And you know me, I like them long. So I do think I'll knit just a slightly longer sleeve. And I am pretty sure I have plenty of yarn to do that. So it's really fun. It's kind of fun to do the lace in just one strand of mohair. So here's my tip so far, because I don't have a ton of tips on it. We just started. But one of my tips is going to be that when you go to knit with just one strand, I'm currently using only one ball because I wanted this to be super portable. You could be using 2, but I'm only using 1. And so when I get to that point, I make sure that my yarn isn't like super tangled or anything. And I, switch to knitting with just one strand. I go around for 2 rounds and then I switch to the other strand. So I'm like, in a way, changing it up so that I'm carrying it up. And then by the time I get back to knitting for 2, then I'm back on the 2 and they're all kind of together. And it's not like you're dragging one strand from like where you did your stockinette, if that makes sense. And that seemed to be working just fine. I really can't tell the difference too much, but I think it works well. And that's just a way to like carry your yarn. But again, I don't have many more. I don't have a ton of like advice yet just because it's so soon. This is a bottom-up sweater and yeah, I really like it because it's just interesting enough. Like you get some stockinette, you get some interest, you get some stockinette. So for that, I think it's a great project. And I really do think once it's time to try it on, it's going to be so pretty. And I don't really have anything in this color, so I am looking forward to it being done so I can wear it because I think it'll be a really stunning piece and I have nothing like it in my knits. So I'm excited for this one. And I think this will be a good travel project. I mentioned Seattle Falcon Fiber. Stick to the end. We'll talk about that at the end. But I do think this will be a nice little, like one little skein that I can bring with me and knit. So this is like an ideal project size for me. I can jam it in my purse, pull it out. It won't be that big of a deal. I have it memorized. So excited about that. And let's see what else. I knit a lot on my secret project, which I can't share with you guys quite yet, but we're getting close. But I have about, I think 8 inches on the body. It is a bottom up. So we're making some progress, but it is a little bit slower. And let's see. Okay. So that is the active knitting projects. We're going to talk about Line of Magazine real quick. I cannot believe, you guys, I cannot believe that I somehow, like, I don't know what happened. This is what I almost always do. I'm going to tell you guys the embarrassment of my brain. I almost always see the pre-orders go out for this. And I always get it from my local yarn shop. It's just what I do. And I always select pick up purchase so that when the pre-order is ready, I can pick it up and move right along. So I also always put a note because I have pre-ordered things twice because I forget. I'll see like the initial lineup post, like pre-order this now. And then I will see it like when it gets closer and I will think, oh, I didn't do that. Like I need to do that. And I will have then ordered 2. So they know to only sell me 1. Let's just put it that way because I've multiple times ordered 2 on accident. The second thing is that I somehow just never saw this, or maybe I thought I ordered it twice and I never actually, like I have no idea what happened, but for whatever reason, we never talked about this. And I peeked at it online and thought, well, no, we have to talk about this because a lot of these things you can wear right now. So let's do it. Okay. There are tons of sweaters. There are tons of wraps. There are little projects. There are cardigans, there's just so much stuff. And I really think, okay, so let's talk about this one first. This is by Lisa Meissner. It is called the Flickflauder, and it is a small mini shawl. Everybody loves a mini shawl. This one's really cool because it is a weird shape. I'm gonna try and find the pattern without showing the pattern. How are we gonna do this? We are going to, so it's like a weird shape, and I like it. I think that's kind of cool. Like, that's a cool thing about it, because it is a weird shape, the actual shape that you wear is like very cute, and it makes the little stripes go in different directions, which I think is really fun. And it looks like they're just using mohair, but of course you could use whatever you want. I do wonder, because it looks like it's stockinette, you're probably doing a lot of purling. So if that is not your thing, then maybe it's not your thing. But it's very, very cute. There's another picture of it. Again, this is by Lisa Meissner. And I just thought it was too cute. So that's the first one. And I think it would make an amazing project, because like this Ito yarn, like you could have just like the tiniest little tiny knit project with you. I mean, it's so small, you can put in like a little Ziploc bag, just saying. So I like that that's just like very affordable, if you will. And then there's a lot of little tops. So I'm gonna try and find, okay, this one is by Sara Ottosson, and it is Only Lovers Left. It is like a Henley. Like the classic Henley. It's got the little buttons. It has like a waffly pattern. I thought, like, if you wanted kind of a staple, this would be great. It also has some like really interesting details. So it has like cuff, collar, and split hem. Like all of those are split. The cuffs have like little buttons also. And then on this side, you could maybe see the split hem and the little buttons again. And it has that, again, beautiful waffle detail. Oh, we're getting even more up close. So there's just a lot of like really cool details. And I think this one is my favorite. So this is by Maria Gomez, and it's called the Filigree, and it's striped. It also has a diamond texture, so you are doing some sort of, so it does have cabling, and it has, I'm wondering if you're knitting it inside out or not. I don't actually know. Okay, so I think you're knitting a lot of, you might be purling a lot, and that is what it is. But it's a really cool effect. You have like very beautiful cables along with stripes in there. Obviously you could just choose to knit it one color if you want, but I do think the stripes add something a little bit fun and just makes it a little bit more whimsical, if you will. And they knit it using like a mohair, I believe. So it is, again, very light, but it would be warm still. Like, unless you are like in Arctic weather, a mohair sweater, even very light, is going to keep you quite warm. And it would be even nicer to not have like all the bulk. It'd be great to travel with. So I, again, thought it was really cool. I love these socks. This is by Nicola Furey. It is called Springtide. I think they're so fun. I think they'd be really quick and fun to knit, and they would make really cute gifts once it's kind of gift season. So I thought that was a really cute one. This one is very wearable. I think you could wear it like very much throughout a lot of different seasons. It's called the Honeymist, and this is by Meiju Kallio. And it has some cables on the short sleeves and also some really nice big chunky ribbing at the bottom. And you could make this long sleeve if you wanted and, you know, wear it for fall. I thought that was a really pretty one. And this particular shawl is so cool. It has like a basket weave pattern and cables, and it is so pretty. It's really, really, really pretty. And I just really like that basket weave shape along with the cables. Makes it just look very luxurious. And like I said, while this is a spring magazine, I still think you could wear it for a lot of seasons. There's like vest, dickies, whatever you want to call this. It's like the side tie vest. And this is called the Cockle by Autumn Bugs. I really like it a lot. I think this is very cute, very sweet. Again, it could be a beautiful layering piece that you wear in the summer. You wear it, you know, over a dress. You could wear it with the tank underneath of it. You could wear it with long sleeves. There's so many different ways that you could wear it. And I just think it's a really, really, really beautiful top. Régnier has the Myriade, and I wish, so let me preface this by saying, you know I love knitting in dark knits. I love it so much. I love this sweater so, so, so much. I feel like we're not getting all the gorgeous lace detail that we could see. I'm sure you could probably see it in person, but in these photos, it's a bit more difficult, but it's so pretty. So it is mostly stockinette in the main body part, but on the shoulders, it has this really beautiful lace detail. So I hope that you can see it. I'll give you a moment, but I think it's really, really pretty. And, you know, I know sometimes you guys tell me I'm really hard to see all of my knits, all the details sometimes because they are darker. I totally get it, but I really like that one. It's a little hard to see. This one's super fun. So for anyone who really wants a whimsical knit and doesn't mind a little intarsia, there is the Cloud Tee by Clara Nilsson. So fun. Again, this could be long sleeve. There's nothing that's really difficult about just continuing the sleeves longer and having some cute little clouds. Like, can you imagine this in a whatever fabric you want to use, but making the clouds fuzzy? Like, you could even like totally go nuts and do like the eyelash fuzzy, like fuzzy clouds. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're like, Laurel, that yarn has been out of style for a while, but I'm just saying, I think it would be fun. Sparkly clouds. I really like it. There's this really cute top. It is called the Clara, and I think this is one of those ones you could wear like backwards if you wanted, potentially. So this is by Kata Rubki. Oh, I hope I said that right. It has really pretty detail on the shoulders. I think it's like a twisted rib. And then in the back, or maybe you want to wear it in the front, there's buttons. Look how cute. I also really like what they did on the side by the hem. I think that's so nice. So I really like it. I really think this one's darling. There is The Artist by Polina Listi. Ooh, I think I probably said that wrong. It's called The Artist. It's got a little textured top. And then we have, last but not least, this is the cover one. It's called Pinehurst. This is by Fiona Alice, and it is a marled cardigan. How cute. So that is all of the patterns in the spring issue of this year. I cannot believe I somehow missed it. 2 things left, I promise. They'll be fast. I so appreciate you guys being here still and hanging out with me today. It always means so much. Your guys' comments mean a lot. I really appreciate all the comments on the last video because it is going to help me like move forward, and it's really helpful to get feedback. So I always appreciate a comment, and you know, I appreciate it so much. So Flock Fiber Festival. Flock is next weekend, and I originally was not gonna go. I thought, I've been 3 times, like, do I wanna go? Am I gonna go? And then I started getting FOMO a little bit and decided, like, I'm gonna go. And I had talked to my husband and I was like, hey, I think I might go. And he was like, oh, I thought you were already going. So I'm going, but because I decided so late, I'm going to do it differently this year. I am going to probably fly up for the day. And that might sound extravagant, but I'm a former flight attendant and I retired. So that is quite easy for me to accomplish. So I think I'm going to do that, and maybe also on Sunday. So let me know if you are going to be there Saturday or Sunday, please. And that is kind of the plan. As far as other updates, I am going to... Oh, also, if you see me at Flock, make sure to say hi, because I might have something for you. Okay, so I have been on a journey, if you will. You guys remember the dress? I don't have an update on that quite yet for you, but I'm making other things. So in my mind, when I started to knit the blue mohair, the Verona sweater, I wanted to make a knitting bag to match. Like I had this idea in my head and I was like, I'm gonna do this. So this is just because I was learning how to make the bag itself, because I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured it out, or how I wanted it to be, right? So I embroidered this particular one because I'm keeping this one, but the whole point and the idea that I had in my head originally was doing a denim bag. So I made a denim bag. It's got a cute little embroidered heart on it that I did myself. And yeah, they are project bags. I will say the only caveat with this is that if you have a light color yarn, it's probably not its best friend. Just like anything, like if you were wearing jeans and you sat on a white couch, like there could be some issues. Same would apply with the denim. But just because I have the fabric and making them, I'm going to have like a little limited drop of bags coming up. So if you were interested in that, you can send me a message on Instagram, but also please sign up for the newsletter, because that's where I will throw up a link for them, I believe is what I'm going to do. So keep an eye there. And if you're not signed up to the newsletter, now's a good time. So that's the plan. I think these will be after Flock because I won't be able to get to them until then. If I see you at Flock, please say hello. And if you have any questions about traveling to Flock or any questions for me or whatever, please put them in the comments below. I always read those and try to answer them if I can. And that's it. That's today's. I'm so sorry it's a bit long. I know some of you said you don't like long ones, but I do appreciate you being here. This one, I just had so much that I did not want to put off anything. The next video will be the Flock video. I do plan on taking some footage there. I may dip a toe in just the vlogging of getting there, but not like an overly vloggy vlog. Yeah. So that's what we've got. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. If we are not yet knitting besties, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, and please like this video. It tells YouTube that other fiber enthusiasts like yourself enjoy this type of content. Until next time, make some yarn magic.